Okay, we started the recording. Okay, so okay, okay, okay. So today we are going to learn AS2. Okay, we will discuss how AS2 work, and we will set up AS2 in studying an integrator, and we will see how it works end to end. Okay. Now let me tell you that this topic is a little bit complicated. Okay. So I want everyone to pay 100% attention. Okay. And if you do not understand something, okay, stop me right there or ask your question. Okay. Do not wait until the end, because uh, it will be completely waste of everyone's time to repeat the entire 15-minute or 20-minute discussion. Okay, so pay 100% attention and stop me if you do not understand anything. Okay, now I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, JP.
Yes, JP.
Okay, perfect. So today we are going to see AS2 protocol. Okay. So any of you have heard about the AS2 protocol?
Yes, JP.
What is the AS2 protocol? Can you just give a brief description of that?
Basically, we have encryption, and it's just like any other protocols, but here the security will be provided by MIME. So this is the only thing I know, JP.
Okay.
And
Any-
JP, this is Sudhir.
Mhm.
AS2 is applicability statement to protocol, and it is using HTTP and MIME, and the security part is provided by MIME, and its certification means it is configuring a security certificate for transmission.
Right. So yeah, that is what actually AS2 is. Okay. So AS2 stands for applicability statement, and 2 is the 2 applicability statement 2 protocol. So we have AS1, AS2, and AS3. Okay. And the difference between AS1, AS2, and AS3 is what we call the transmission protocol that is used behind these specifications. Okay. So for the AS2 protocol, transmission protocol is HTTP, right? Similarly, for AS3, we have transmission protocol as FTP, right? So today we are going to discuss the AS2, right? So on very high level, right? So AS2 is basically file transmission protocol. That is we need to first clarify on this. Okay, that AS2, we use the AS2 protocol for the file transmission between two organizations, right, or between the two systems, right? Now AS2 work on the HTTP protocol. So actual file transmission, okay, is performed through the HTTP protocol, right? And on that HTTP protocol, there is a specification build that we call AS2, right? Now, AS2 protocol has a couple of features because of which it is very useful and very popular for the file transmission, right? The first is security, right? And what kind of security and how it provides the security, we are going to discuss next, okay? And the second very important feature of AS2 is MDM, right? That we call the acknowledgement, okay? So say suppose I send a file to Abhishek, right? In FTP or in SFTP, I can use those protocols as well to send the file to the Abhishek, right? But after 2 weeks or after a month, Abhishek can just deny that fact that I actually sent him a file, right? So in this case, actually, I do not have any proof to establish the fact that I sent actually file to the Abhishek, right? But in AS2 specification, what happens, once file transmission complete, I can ask a proof of that file transmission, right? That be called acknowledgement, right? And this acknowledgement comes from Abhishek to me in form of MDM, right? So these are the two very important features that applies to AS2, and because of this, it's very popular, right? So that these are the two things you need to keep in mind. Next, so as these both gentlemen mentioned that AS2 provide very high level of security, right? So we will discuss this part first, and then we will look into the MDM, right? Before we today go to the practical session and we set up or configure AS2, okay? And today again, we will have 2 virtual machines running with SI instances, and I need this so that I show these configurations and the concept in practical. So before we do that, we have to understand few things in theory, right? And trust me, if you understand this theory part, right, you will not have any problem understanding AS2. So pay your 100% attention on this, okay? So let's move on. In AS2, okay, not actually, it's not part of the AS2. It has been included in the AS2, which is encryption and the signing, okay? And I hope I explained a little bit about the encryption in the previous session. So what happens in encryption? You have a sender and the receiver, and sender before send the file to the receiver, it encrypts the data using the public key of the of the receiver, and then it sends the file to receiver. Receiver use its private key to decrypt the file or to retrieve the actual information. That is the encryption. Now we have one more thing that we call the signing. Okay. Any idea about the signing? Anyone? What is digital signing? Okay. So signing is a concept. Okay. I mean, in general, what is signing? I have a bank check, right? I sign it and I give that to Sudhir, and Sudhir can take that check to the bank. Bank look at the check, right, and it verifies my signature, right? And once they verify my signature, and if it's match with their record, right, this is how they verify. And if that matches, they know that this piece of paper or the check is actually signed by JP, right? So that is the signing. So signing basically establish the identity, right? It has this quality to establish that it is Mr. X who is claiming, right? That is a signing in journal, right? In IT, in information technology also, we have a concept called the signing, right? We achieve it in certain way, but eventually we use the concept of signing to establish the identity, right? So I send a message, right? But before sending that message, I send it. I mean, normally we send letters, right, to application letter or various kind of letters, right? At the end, we sign it, right, to prove that it is signed by Mr. X, right? So before in IT also, before we send a message, we can put a signature, right? So the receiver, once he receive that message, he can look at the signature and can verify that, okay, this message is actually sent by the X, not sent by Mr. Y. Because it is why it is sent by X, because the signature in the message matches what I have his signature, right? So the same concept, right? Now we are going to see how this thing gets implemented in technology. Okay. Okay. So as we know that we have file transmission. So if we have some file transmission, then obviously we will have two parties involved, right? Okay. So now, for example, let's say suppose this is party number 1, and the name of this party is Mike, and this is Mr. Bob. Okay. So these are the two people who want to communicate with each other using the AS2 protocol, right? Now listen and understand what all concepts and steps these two people have to go through to set up the AS2 protocol. Okay. So let's first understand the encryption. Okay. Then we will come to signing part. Okay. So in my case, let's consider Mike want to send a file and Bob want to receive a file. Okay. So Bob will right now work as a server and Mike will work as a client, because he will initiate the connection, or he want to send the file to Bob. Point number 1. So if that is the case, Mr. Bob has to, okay, generate a certificate. Okay, what certificate he has to generate? He has to generate a SSL certificate. Okay, now you know that SSL certificate has two parts. Okay, one is public and other is private. Okay, so this is my SSL certificate. Okay guys, and this is the public part of that SSL certificate, and this is the private part of SSL certificate, right? So Bob completes a part of his setup. Now for encryption, right, Bob has to provide public part of this SSL certificate, right, public part of this certificate to Mike. All right, and he will request Mike to encrypt the data with this public certificate. Correct? So Bob will send this data to Mike. Okay, guys. Remember this color coding. I will try to maintain it as much as I can. Okay, so it's a green. This is the public part. Public. Okay, this is green. Got it, guys? I think there is a better way to.
Yes, JP.
Yeah, to make it green, but it's okay. Okay. So now Mike has public key of Bob's certificate, and this is the private key, and this private key is very secure. Bob has to keep it very secret, and he has to make sure that it do not he do not compromise with this private key, because if he compromise it, right, there will be no meaning of encryption and decryption, right? As you people maintain privacy with your bank password, you know? So it's the same thing. So he has to maintain this privacy with the public certificate. Now Mike has public key. He's happy, so he says, okay, I think I'm also ready to send the document. Okay, so Mike has a document, a letter. Okay, and on this letter, say suppose we have data which is A, B, C, and D. Okay, A, B, C, and D. Oh, C. I should have made it red. Okay, so he has this document, plain document, A, B, C, and D. Okay. Before Bob sent this document, Mike sent this document to Bob, he need to encrypt this document. Okay, he need to encrypt this document. Okay, so what Mike will do, he will use this public key, and he also has to use a algorithm. Okay, so this is basic fundamental and the basic concept of encryption. You need a public key. I mean, you need a key to encrypt the data, but you also need an algorithm, okay, to encrypt the data. For example, say suppose I have some data, 1, 2, 3, right? And I want to send it to the Abhishek. But before I send this to Abhishek, I want to encrypt it. Okay. Now, this algorithm has to common bit, or both party has to agree on the same algorithm, right? Now, say suppose we determine to some algorithm that says, say suppose add number 10 on each digit, right? So what I will send him, 1 will become my 11, 10 will become 12, and 3 will become 13. I will send this, right? So my algorithm was add 10 on every digit. So I use this algorithm to encrypt my data, right? Abhishek will get 11, 12, and 13, but he will subtract 10 from every digit to retrieve the actual message. So there you go. This is my algorithm, right? Just for your understanding. In the same way, right, we have algorithms for encryption and decryption. What you need to remember is, actually, we are not learning here cryptography. So we are not learning that. So we are not going to talk about the algorithm. Okay. But what you need to understand is, if a data is encrypted with the X algorithm, it can be decrypted with the same algorithm. Okay. So when you communicate or when you talk about the AS2, right, or exchanging information in your company while setting up the AS2, you have to keep that in mind, right? That you have to exchange this part as well. Okay. So he will use, okay, let's come back to our example again. Okay. Mike will use this public key and an algorithm. Okay. Using this algorithm and the public key, he will encrypt this data. Okay. Consider after encryption. Okay, I do not have much space because I need to draw a lot of things here. Okay. So say suppose this data becomes X, Y, and Z and M. So guys, this is my encrypted message. Right. So now this data is ready to go to Mr. Bob. Okay. Mr. Bob, now Mike can send this data to Bob. Bob will get this encrypted message. And Bob will use this private key to decrypt this data. Okay. What Bob will do? Bob will use his private key, this key, okay, which is a private key, to decrypt this data, and transaction completes. Okay. Now, secure part about this is, if say suppose you have a middleman or you have a hacker, Mr. Hacker here, okay, he gets this encrypted data. Okay. He gets this encrypted data. Okay. He will not able to read this. Even if he gets the data, right, he will not able to read it. He will not able to read it at all. Okay, because it is encrypted. And this data can be decrypted only with the private key of this public key. Now, because this is securely stored in the account locker of Bob, this hacker does not have access to that, so he will not able to decrypt it. Okay.
So, JP, this is Debulina. When Mike is encrypting his document with the public key that has been sent by Bob, and Bob is decrypting the file with the private key that he is having.
Yes. Correct.
Okay, so basically, okay. So that means the public key and the private key are basically the same. Just the public key is sent to the client, and private one remains with the in the server.
Yes, and it need to very securely kept in the server on that Bob's side.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's compromised, then you do not have any security actually. You may pretend
Okay.
you have security, but you do not have actually any security. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is the security part, guys. Okay. So this complete the transaction, and both parties should be happy, right? Because the data is secure.
Hello, JP.
Yeah.
One more question here.
Mm-hmm.
Mike will not create any SSL here.
I will come to that. Wait. Okay.
Okay.
I haven't completed it, right? So this diagram is going to be very dirty. Okay. It will be so dirty even you will not able to understand at the end. Okay. So there is a lot of story yet. Now, guys, due to the steps that has been followed or performed so far, it has made the data encrypted and the data secure, right? So these two guys should be happy, right? But there is one more problem. Okay. Problem is with this public key, right? This public key can be placed on a Google Drive, or it can be placed on the URL. So, and I will say that everyone have access to my public key because it's a public key and its name is public key. So public means every public normal people have access to this public key, right? So everyone can send me the data securely, right? But I receive a file, Mr. Bob receives a file, right? And it appears that it actually has come from Mike, right? But actually there is no way, at least so far, to establish this fact that this message is actually sent by Mike, not by the Abhishek or not by the Devalina, right? We do not have any way to establish this fact, right? Because I have this public key, I can send it and I can say that, hey, I'm Mike, here is the data. Can you please process $1 million in my account, right? So see, there is a problem here. There's an identity problem here, right? So now we have to deal with the identity. And how we deal with the identity? By signature, right? So Bob will say, hey, Mike, I know you are a very good person. You are very loyal and very honest, but there are bad people out there in this world. This world is full of bad people, cheaters, right? Can you please sign this document before you send to me so that I know that this document is actually sent by Mike, not by the Abhishek. So Mike says, that is a little challenging, but because we are doing business and I respect you, so I have to honor your, honor your advice. So, okay, I will sign the document. Okay, now we are going to learn how signing works. Okay, now listen carefully. So, to sign this document, what Mike is going to do is he will create another SSL certificate. Okay, so here is my certificate. I need to do here. Okay, let me create it here. Something like that, I suppose. So this is SSL certificate, okay, that Mike is creating. Okay, so obviously this certificate will have two parts. Okay, one is private, okay, and other is public. Okay, what Mike is going to do is he will give this public certificate, okay, to Bob. Okay, so this certificate going to flow or fly from Mike to Bob. Here is the public certificate of Mike. Pub Mike. Okay, make sense? Next, we are learning how signing works. Okay, now what Mike is going to do is he will take his actual content and he will use a algorithm, okay, using that algorithm, okay, he will create a hash of this message. Okay, he will create a hash of actual message, sorry. Okay, now understand what is hash. Okay, again, very high level. We use a algorithm, right, to create hash of any document. Okay, hash is a unique number to identify a digital content. Okay, it can be your music file, it can be your video file, it can be Word document, whatever, right? Beauty of this hash is it's always small, right? So suppose here you have 10 GB file, you apply the hash algorithm. This hash algorithm will give you 10 or 12 or 15 or 18 digit number, okay, which is completely unique for this data. Okay, and if you apply the same algorithm on this data, your hash number will always and always same. Okay, so he apply a hash, we call it actually, he calculate hash. Okay, he calculate hash of his data using a hashing algorithm. Okay, now say suppose that hash string is 1 2 3 4. Okay, so far good, everyone is with me?
Yes, JP.
Okay, next what Mike is going to do is after calculating the hash of his actual data, okay, he will use his private key and a encryption algorithm, okay, to encrypt the data. Okay, and he will get encryption of this hash. Okay, consider that is that encryption of hash is 8 9 10 7. Okay, this is the encryption. Okay, everyone. Next, now Mike will send this encrypted data and this hash encryption to Bob. So what he's going to do is, okay, 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 and this is the message, entire message. Okay, he will send this entire message to Bob. Any question here so far?
JP, that means whenever we are transmitting data through AS2, we'll send a message, and apart from message, we are sending hash, and we are adding our digital signature to it, and
Yes.
then it is hash, and that whole data is hash encrypted, right?
No. So you calculate the hash and then you encrypt the hash, right, with your private key, right? This is actually called the digital signature, right? Now I will say you have added the digital signature. This is your digital signature. Signature. Okay. You have added your digital signature in the message. Got it? Right?
Yes, JP.
Yes, JP.
Anywhere, if someone says sign it at blah blah something like that, right? It means only this. Okay. Now Bob receives this message. So he's going to first work on the message part, right? Right. So what he will do, he will take this message. I will use now green. Okay. He take this message. Okay. What is this message, guys?
It's XYZM.
Yes, exactly. This is X, Y, Z, M, right? He's going to use his private key and cipher, right, which is algorithm or the encryption algorithm, and by using the same algorithm that was used to encrypt it and with his private key, right, he will retrieve the actual data. Okay, now the actual data will be
ABCD.
yes, actual data will be A, B, C, and D. Right? This is your actual data. Next.
JP, I have a question. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how does Bob know what is the algorithm which was set in the mic end?
When we set up this kind of transmission, right, we talk over the phone or we discuss the things in the email. Okay, so we communicate these things. Okay, I mean, this guy and this guy is not going to dream about it. So it has to be communicated, right? Communicated maybe by in person, in the email, or over the phone, some way. Okay.
JP, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob first decrypt the message, and
Yes.
when he's going to verify this signature,
Yes.
Mike's digital signature.
Yeah. Now that is I'm coming to that point. Okay. Now Bob has actual data ABC, right? Now my data was securely sent. I'm able to decrypt it. It means some good person has sent me the data, and this data was not distorted, it was not changed or anything, right? So I'm able to decrypt it. It proves that the data is authentic, data is good, it's not hacked, it is not modified in the middle. Okay, so I retrieve the actual data, right? Step number 1 complete. Now I need to make sure that this data is actually sent by the HDFC bank. It was not sent by some miscellaneous person, right? To do that, I know that, or the Mr. Bob know that this data is signed data. Okay, so what he's going to do is he will calculate hash. Again, both parties has to use the same hashing algorithm. Okay, so he will calculate the hash of this message. Okay, so what he will get? Using
1,
the
2, 3,
same,
4.
yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, he got the hash. Perfect. Next, what Bob is going to do is he will take now this part, that digital signature came from the Bob. Okay, and what is in this digital signature? It is 8, 9, 10, 7. Okay, now Bob is going to use the same encryption algorithm, this one. Okay, this guy, same encryption algorithm, and this public key. Okay, and decrypt this hash value. So when he will decrypt, he will get 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now then he will check if this value that has come from the mic and the hash value that he calculated by himself, if these two matches, it means this message was actually sent by Bob. Why? Because I retrieved the same hash value, right, by decrypting the hash with the public key of the Bob. Oh, sorry, with the public key of the mic, right? It means this message has been sent by the mic because signature is matching, right? Signature is matching. So this is how signing works and encryption works. Okay. Take
JP,
30 seconds.
I wanted to.
Take 30 seconds, think about it, and ask a question. Yeah, go ahead. Good. Yeah, ask your question.
JP, I wanted to know how Bob is going to calculate the hash thing.
How Bob will calculate the hash? Hash
Yeah.
is a mechanism, right? You just, I mean, you can calculate hash. Use a hash algorithm and then use some API. You can calculate the hash, right? I mean, I'm a Java developer, right? So in Java also we have APIs, right? In you use that API and give the file path of your file, data file, media file, whatever file it is, and then choose a hash algorithm and use a method. It calculates the hash, right? And I have tried by myself. Okay, run that same method on the same file 10,000 times. It gives same number every time, every single time, until unless you change the data. But if you change the data, when I'm saying the change the data, it means if you press an enter even in that data, in that file, okay, hash value change. Okay, so did that answer your question? I mean, he calculate the hash. He will able to calculate the hash.
Yes, JP.
JP, here one more question. For digital signature, we use only for public.
No, say again. Repeat your question. What was that?
For digital signature, we use only public key.
We use the both key, right?
See,
Digital
no, I
signature
want to ask.
might use the private key, right, to encrypt the digital signature, right? And the Bob
Yes.
used the public key to decrypt it. Actually, I mean, you do not have to confuse in this. I know that it's a little confusing, but you do not have to, right? See, in encryption, you encrypt the data, right, with the public key. But while signing, you encrypt the data with the private key, right? And in Bob's side, it happened other way around, right? But actually, the concept is public key and private key is same. Both have the same value, okay, importance. A part of key that you make it public, that is considered as your public key, which you keep secret, right? That becomes your private key, right? So you generate one key pair and use one key as your private key, save with you, right? And you can use that to encrypt the data. But if a data is encrypted with one part of key, then it can be decrypted or reversed by the public key or the private key of the same key. That is the funda. Okay. So even in the signing, Bob is using his private key to encrypt the data, right? He used the private key, right, to encrypt the hash, right? And then the Bob used public key to decrypt the hash and retrieve the actual hash value.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
JP Money here. JP, like I have heard three terms in my current project, and that is related to AS2. I just wanted to know, like, what does compression means and what does key strength means, JP, and even in signing for MDN, right? They use synchronous and asynchronous kind
That
of
I'm
term.
coming to next.
Okay, JP, thanks.
Okay. Now this key thing, right? Again, this encryption, right? When you generate the encryption, it's something related to the encryption and decryption, right? So when you generate a certificate, right, you have to select the key length, right? So people say more the key length, it will stronger will be your encryption or decryption, right? You will be more secure, right? But more if the length of your key is more, then your computer has to work more to decrypt the data. It has to I mean in that algorithm, right, it has to perform some extra steps, right? So it's related to encryption. For now you just understand like that, okay? And if you have longer key length, it you have stronger encryption and decryption, right? But so you will be more secure, right? But you also have to consider that if your length is more, right, you are more secure, but your computer has to, or your system has to work more to decrypt the data or to encrypt the data, right? So you are getting more security, but you are losing or you're consuming the more CPU power, right? So people say that use some moderate key length, okay? And again, this key length is determined by discussion between the two parties, right? Now next you said the MDN, okay? Now I'm going to discuss about that now, okay? MDN and the type of MDN. Okay, now let's talk about the MDN. If you people do not have any question, right? Okay. Now let's talk about the MDN part. What is MDN? So MDN is a what we call the acknowledgement. Okay. MDN is acknowledgement that sender of the file can request for the can request from the receiver. Okay. And what is the full form MDN? Anyone know?
It's a message disposal notification.
Yeah, something like that. I really do not remember. Yeah, something like that. Message disclosure.
Message disposition notification.
Yeah, you can, I mean, search it in the Google, right? The full form of MDN, right? So that is what MDN is. But the I mean, the functionality of MDN is acknowledgement. Okay. So what happens in case of AS2? It's again, it's a functionality provided by the AS2. In FTP or SFTP, this functionality is not available. So if you are looking for the acknowledgement or the MDN, you have to think about the AS2. Okay. Now let's come back to our example again. So here's Mike. Okay. So when Mike is sending the data to Bob, he can ask for MDN, or I will say he can ask for acknowledgement. He can say, Bob, once you get my data, can you please send an acknowledgement, or can you send a confirmation so that I know that you have received it. Okay. And I will keep that in my record to deal with any conflict in future. Okay. So Bob will store that MDN for 2 years, 3 years, or 2 months, right? And during this time, if Bob says that you did not, Mike, you did not send me the file, right? Mike can always show the acknowledgement or the MDN to Bob or Bob's organization that, see, I have your MDN. It means I send the file to you. Okay. And you send me the acknowledgement. I have this acknowledgement. It means I definitely send you the file, right? So, while sending the file, sender can request for MDN. Okay. So say suppose MDN is requested. If MDN is not requested, no problem. So whatever I explained you, that was the theory. But if MDN is requested, now let's understand what happens. Okay. MDN was requested. So what Bob will do, he will do all this drama that I explained. After that, okay, what Bob will do is he will calculate the hash, right? Or I mean the hash he has already calculated. He will use this hash. Okay. What he will do is, okay, because I do not have space here, so I'm using it, this portion. Okay. He will use his private key, okay, and an algorithm to encrypt this hash number, message hash. Okay, he will encrypt this hash with his private key. Okay, so this is that encryption. Okay, after running that encryption, it will generate a encrypted hash, right? Now say suppose that encrypted hash is, now again, see, listen, that encrypted hash can be 8, 9, 10, 7, and it can be different because he may choose to use different encryption algorithm, right? and anyways he's using his own private key, so it will be different, right? So say suppose this time that number is 6789. So this is encrypted hash. He will send this hash, encrypted hash, to Bob. This is MDN. Okay. Bob will store this MDN in his record or in his database for his record or for future reference, right? So this is MDN, right? Now next point. MDN can be requested in two modes: synchronous mode and asynchronous mode. Okay. Now first understand what is synchronous and what is asynchronous. In technology or in IT, any two systems can communicate either in the synchronous mode or in the asynchronous mode. You open your browser, right? You type www.google.com, press enter, right? Now there is communication between your browser and the Google server, right? But this mode of communication is synchronous. Why synchronous? Okay, because now I do not have space here, and I need to explain few more things here, so I cannot discard this as well. But just imagine and understand. Okay, your browser send a request. Okay, it send a request from the browser to the Google server. Okay, so connection is established from your browser to server. Your Google server process the data and send back the response. And who it send back? It send the response back to your browser, right? So this is called the synchronous communication. In synchronous communication, what happens? Your server respond to the client in the same request. Okay, that is a synchronous communication, right? If you understand it in a general term, so it's like I ask Abhishek, can you give me 100 rupees, right? Or $100. He immediately give me $100, right? So it happens immediately in the same request response, right? So this is synchronous. Then there is something called the asynchronous, right? In asynchronous, what happens? I ask Abhishek, can you please, may I borrow $100? Abhishek will say, oh, I do not have $100. Oh, let me check with my other friend. Or let me do one thing, let me withdraw it from the bank. Okay, and I will give this $100. I will definitely give you. Don't worry about that. Be assured. But I will give you tomorrow. You come tomorrow. Okay, or don't bother to come. I will come to your home and give you $100. Okay, this is asynchronous communication, right? Where a person initiates the connection, right? And the server respond to that request, right? Whenever he has time, right? Which means this guy will initiate another connection to give the response. That is asynchronous communication. Okay. Same way in case of MDN also, right? Sender can request the MDN. That is the one thing. But MDN can be requested in the sync mode or the async mode. Okay. So if it's the sync mode, right? he sends the request, and he will wait. Your client will wait. Mike will wait until he receives the MDN. So Mike will not close the connection, right? But in case of what we call
Asynchronous.
async, right? In case of the async, Mike will send the data to Bob, right? And Bob realized that he needs to send the MDN, but he needs to send it in the async mode. So what will happen is Bob will initiate another connection to Mike to send the MDN. It will not happen in the same connection, right? Bob will send the response to the Mike in a separate request, right? So here this guy will initiate the request, right? So this is your asynchronous MDN. So this is MDN and synchronous and asynchronous MDN. Okay.
Yes, JP.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm ready. My screen. Okay. Okay, guys. Let's do this. Okay. Okay. So now here you can see I have two systems. Okay. These are the two separate computers. Okay. Node one says node 1 and another says S node. Okay. So I will first go to node 1. Okay. Now say suppose node 1 is node 1 should be Mike or Bob. Any choice?
We'll take as Bob. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take Bob. Okay. So this is Bob. Okay. Node 1 is Bob. So Bob or node 1 is going to receive the data from Mike, which is node 2, which is S node. Okay. S node is means node 2 actually. Anyway. Okay. A sending node. Okay. So what we are going to do here. Okay. So let's first create the certificate. Okay. So we are going to create the certificate, SSL certificate. You know that right? Both parties need SSL certificate. Okay. So let's create the SSL certificate, and we will create the self-signed certificate here. Name of certificate, this is Bob. Here is your key length, right? So this is key length to generate your certificate. So if you say 2048, which is the highest key length available, but it consumes a lot of your computer power to decrypt or encrypt the data if you use this kind of key, right? So moderate is 1024. Okay. Signing algorithm, and then you can click on next. Okay. So Bob gets his SSL certificate. Now come to the AS2. Okay. In AS2 we have two things. Okay. One is called the partner and other is called the organization. Okay. Organization is the person who owns the system. Okay. We set up organization to represent the person who owns the system. Okay. So here AS2 is our So here we have to set up the partner and organization, right? So now, because I'm setting up this for the Bob, right? So first we have to set up the organization, Bob organization and the Mike organization on the Mike system, right? So this is for the Bob. So I will set up an organization first for the to represent the Bob. Okay, click the organization, click the next, create an identity. Okay, identity name. So Bob AS2 SI setup. Okay, this identity name that you see here in the first page, right? This is something for SI to use. Okay, and it should be unique in your SI system. Next is AS2 identity. Now this field is very important. Okay, this is your AS2 identity in this entire universe. Okay, AS2 communication happens based on the AS2 identity, right? Partners identify each other with the AS2 identity. Okay, so for your organization, there will be unique AS2 identity, right? So when you set up the organization, right, for your company, you need to ask this or check this, that what AS2 identity has been assigned to your organization or what they want to use. Okay, but here I will say Bob AS2. Profile name. Okay, now come over here.
JP, I have a question. For different trading partners, we are having AS2 connectivity. We are using the same AS2 identity
For
because
your own
it's a universal AS2 identity, right?
Right. For your own organization, right, it will be unique, right? So say suppose this is for your organization, right? So your name of your organization is HDFC. HDFC AS2 is your AS2 identity, right? When I want to communicate with you, right, you have to provide me your AS2 identity. So you will say my AS2 identity is HDFC AS2, right? And I will give you my AS2 identity, right? You that will be, say suppose, Bank of America AS2, right? So in your system you will configure Bank of America while setting up the partner, right? I will use the HDFC AS2 while setting up as a partner in my system, right? So we identify each other with the AS2 identifier, with the AS2 identity. Okay, you will see it here. You will see it. You will understand by yourself. Okay. Come over here. Okay. Exchange certificate. Okay. So I think I have already explained you, but I will give you one more hint here. That exchange certificate, when you see here, it is basically exchange means here encryption and decryption certificate. Okay, and then the signing certificate, right? So in profile, you need to provide these two certificates. You can use separate certificates, or you can use the same certificate as well. So I will use this certificate here, and this is my system certificate. If you see, we just now generated this certificate, Bob AS2 SSL. There you go. Next fields are not mandatory, but if you want, you can provide your email detail, right? Email ID, address, host name, and the port number of your company. So what happens if any transaction, AS2 transaction failed in SI, then SI will send an email informing you or a group of people that some AS2 transaction is failed. So if you want to set that notification, you can do it here. Click on next, click on finish. Okay. So this is AS2 organization setup for the Bob in the Bob system. Okay. Now let's work for the mic. Here's mic, right? So again, for mic also, what we have to do, we have to what I want to do. Digital certificate. Sorry.
This is
System certificate, right? So this is for the mic. What do you need? Sorry. Mic.
my
What is the mic? Okay. So far, good. Now, so organization for Mike and Bob is set up in their respective systems. Right. Next thing is exchange of certificate. Okay. Bob needs to provide his certificate public key to the Mike, and the Mike need to provide his public key to the Bob. Right. So that is what I'm going to do, and this is a little challenging here because these VMs do not communicate with each other. Okay, let's figure it out. Let's see if it works or not. I inserted the pen drive, but not detecting it here. Okay. Very good. you go. Mike. Okay, this is Mike's public key. Okay, I will remove my pen drive. So everyone is with me, right?
Yes, JP.
No one is feeling that I'm getting crazy. That's what I'm doing. This is Bob. So similarly, I have to come here. Take the public key from the Bob system. Come on. Okay. So sometimes what happens when I attach the pen drive, it go to the host system, not on the guest, not on my VM. Not this time it has detected. Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, there you go. So you got the Bob in the Bob folder, but in the Bob system, we need Mike, right? So I will copy the Mike certificate in the Bob system. Okay, everyone is with me?
Yes, JP.
Yes, JP.
Now I need to transfer the certificate from the Bob to the Mike. This is Bob. Okay, so we are good with the file transfers. Certificate exchange. Okay, guys, now we are ready to set up the partners, right? So we started with the Bob, right? And we will again start with the Bob. Okay, come here, click on Go, click on Organization. Okay, this is Bob, right? Node 1, Bob, correct? Now in the Bob system, we have to set up the Mike as a partner, right? Or as an organization. So I have to click on the AS2 and then click on the first Go button and select the organization, click on Next. Okay, create new identity, click on Next. Again, identity name, it can be anything. So it's Mike AS2 setup. Okay, but here AS2 identity should exactly match what has Mike has decided. Okay, so what was Mike's identity? If we click on here and click on go, click on next. So identity was Mike AS2, right? So AS2 identity of Mike is Mike AS2. This is what we have to write in this page. Mike AS2. S is small or capital? S is capital. Okay. And the remaining you can say set up whatever you want. Okay. Okay. I'm setting this up as an organization, right?
JP,
Yes, go ahead. No, your voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear anything. Yeah, this is what it is, right? It should be partner. Actually, I should not be setting an organization again, right? It should be partner. That is it was my bad. Okay. Yeah, you were saying something, right? Hello. No, your voice is breaking. I don't know if only I am having trouble listening you or everyone.
Yeah, even we are not able to listen properly, JP.
Okay. Okay. So I selected the wrong option, right? So now in the Bob system, we are going to set up Mike as an partner, right? Because in both systems, we have set up the organization. Organization setup is complete, and in each system, you will have only one organization setup. Okay, you will have one configuration that will represent your organization, right? And that system belongs to that organization. So we completed the organization setup. Now we are going to set up the partner, right? So for the Bob, Mike is the partner, and for the Mike, Bob is the partner, right? So because this is Bob's system, I'm going to set up Mike here. So last time, actually, I think I selected the organization. I should have selected the partner. Click on the partner, create new identity, right? Here, Mike AS2 setup, and here you have to write the AS2 identity of Mike, which is Mike AS2. Okay, now the profile name. Profile name can be anything, whatever you like, because this is something something to uniquely identify this configuration in Sterling Integrator, right? Next. I have to set up here the CA certificate. I check in the certificate, but okay. So before we do anything here on this setup, right? We have to. I mean, we copied the certificates from Mike to Bob, and Bob certificate to Mike, but I forget to check in those certificates in SI, right? So what I have to do is, before I complete anything here, I have to cancel this. I have to come here and click on the digital certificate and click on the CA certificate, CA, right? Click on go and browse here. This is my certificate, right? Click on OK. We don't need that. And mic AS2 SSL and okay, that's fine. Finish. Okay, CA certificate is in system certificate. Oh, not system certificate, sorry. AS2. Click here again, partner. Okay. HTTP client adapter, right? So now I hope you know that what is the client adapter, right? What is the significance of the adapters and the services, right? So in your system, you may have multiple HTTP client adapter instances configured, right? So this drop down will show you all the configured HTTP client adapters configurations, right? So you can select one of client adapter configuration, right? Whatever you want. Okay. So say suppose I select the first one. Next is the endpoint. Okay. Now again, this is very important. Okay. Your partner will provide this information to you. Okay. Your partner will provide this information to you. Endpoint. Okay. So what we are going to do here is endpoint type. So now we do not have this information, right? So we have to call to Mike and ask him the endpoint. Okay, so Bob will call to the mic and ask for the endpoint. So now let's step into the Mike's shoes. Okay, to find out the endpoint, come here, deployment, services, configuration. Select for the HTTP server adapter. So one of the server adapter here, right? One of the HTTP server adapter will host a service, right? In SI that actually hosts the AS2 related service. Okay, one of the HTTP server adapter in SI hosts the AS2 related service, and that service is this one. Okay, that service is this EDIINT parse, right? This is the service that we need to execute, or this is the service where we need to send the AS2 data for SI to process, right? And this service is configured with the URL AS2/AS2. Okay, and if you see, this guy is okay. This guy, this URL is running on port number 5035. Okay, so if we add all these things, okay, if we add all these things, then our URL will become 192.168.1.70. This is the IP address. And so right now, guys, it is configured to run with the SSL. But I want to show you first with without SSL. So I will go here and remove that configuration. So right now it is configured for the HTTPS. Okay. SSL none right there. So IP address is 192.168.1.7t. So my URL will be http://192.168.1.170 : on which port this server adapter is running, guys? 5035. 5035/AS2. Okay, so this is the endpoint. Okay, you don't need to worry about this because you will get this information from your client, but you have to know how to get this information in SI. Okay, so now you have learned that. You learn it. Okay, now come to this, and other configuration you can leave for now, and we use the SSL or this configuration, guys, when we have HTTPS configuration, right? I mean, when your URL is HTTPS, but right now it's not HTTPS, it's plain HTTP. So I can skip this page, this part for now. Response time. Okay, come to this part. Okay, this is kind of important. Okay, payload type. Okay, payload type means how you want to send the data to your partner, or not to the partner, basically to this partner, to the mic. How Bob want to send the file to the mic. If you want to send it plain text, means you do not want to encrypt it, you do not want to sign it, then he can select the plain text. But if he select sign detached, okay, it means if you select the sign detached, it means what? No encryption, but there will be digital signature. So data will not be encrypted, but sender, I mean the Bob, has to sign it. Okay, but if we want to only encrypt, then he can select this option. But we actually want to select this option where we want to sign, detach, and encrypt it, both. Okay, come to the next two fields. These next two fields are not very important. Okay, so MIME type and the MIME subtype. Okay, so I hope you people know HTTP, right? So in HTTP, when that request and response happens, right, beside the payload, HTTP request and the response also has something called the header, HTTP header, right? In HTTP header, we have to, or we normally specify the data type, right? What kind of data this particular request or the response contains or holds, right? So this content type gives the opportunity for the receiving application to know what kind of data it can expect inside the body of the HTTP request or HTTP response, right? So that data type is specified, and data type is specified with these two fields, MIME type and MIME subtype. Okay, so based on requirement, I mean the what kind of data you are sending, you can select one of these options. If you are sending the text, you can select text, application, message, image, video, audio. So what kind of data you are sending. MIME subtype. Okay, so if you are sending the application data, so what kind of data? It's EDI XML, EDI fact, EDI XML, plain, path type. So whatever what kind of data you are going to exchange, you can select here, okay, in these two fields. And definitely you will know that what kind of data you're going to exchange with your partner, right? Next is compressed data, okay. So you know that, right, you can zip, when you zip a data, right, you can specify that what kind of, how much compress you want to compress that data, right? So similarly, here you can specify that what kind of how much compression you want to do on your data, low, medium, high, or the default, or none. None means you do not want to compress, right? So it's your compression property, right? How much you want to compress that data, how much you want to zip the data, how small you want to make your data, right? So you can, based on your requirement, you can select whatever you want, okay. Now exchange certificate and the signing certificate, none available. And why is none available? Hmm. I think I did a mistake, that the mic certificate should go in the trusted certificate, not in the CA certificate. I get confused always in between these two, right? So it should go in the trusted certificate, actually. Let me go back. I will come back here again on the same screen so that it come, okay. So now you have your exchange certificate and the signing certificate, right? So click on this, right? Select the certificate, Mike's public certificate, okay. Okay, now remember this, why you selected. I told you, right? When the Mike will send the data, right? ABC, he need the public key. He need this public key, right? To encrypt the data to make it XYZ, right? This guy that you see here, exchange certificate, we use that. This configuration will be used for the encryption, right? Signing certificate. If any case, right, if Bob want to sign the data, right, then he will use, I mean, if you want to verify that signing thing, okay, then he will use this certificate, right? Bob will use uh, his own private key to sign the certificate, right? When he will send the data. But consider other opposite scenario, right? Where, say, suppose Bob receives a file, right? So if Bob receives the file, right, then he need the public key, right, of Mike to validate the signature, okay. So this is the certificate that will be used to validate the Mike's signature, okay. So this is that configuration. Then guys, here you can see encryption algorithm. These are the available options you can select based on your requirement, okay. I will leave it default. I have explained you about this encryption algorithm. Now come to the signing algorithm, right? I have also explained you about this signing algorithm. So signing algorithm means how you want to calculate the hash, okay? Which algorithm you want to use to calculate the hash. Okay, guys. So you can select based on your requirement, based either MD5 or SSH1. Okay. So I will leave it MD5. But remember, if I'm using MD5 here, I have to use the MD5, sorry, on the other side as well. MDN receipt, so I want MDN. So that is why I'm selecting this. This recipient signature type, right? So I will select the same MDN, MD5 everywhere. Okay, response time. Delivery mode. Okay, guys. Delivery mode means how you want to receive the MDN. Okay, how you want to receive the MDN. So async HTTP, async HTTPS, async SMTP. SMTP means you want to receive the MDN in the email. Okay, if Bob wants to receive the MDN from the mic in the email, then he can select this option. Okay, and let me select this one, sync MDN. Now come to the next field, which says receipt to address. Okay, receipt to address is like CC, right? So in case of the sync, right, your MDN will be sent as a part of response from client to server, right? This is what we discussed, right? This guy will send the request, and then this guy will reply will send the MDN, right? So in this case, in the sync case, it will always send to the same server, right? But beside this server, if you want to send that MDN to one more place, so suppose you want to send on your server as well as google.com, you want to send that MDN to Google. So you type that address here. So it will be sent to this URL as well, the same MDN. Okay. So we do not want to do anywhere right now. Click on next and then click on sync. Okay. Now let's go to the mic system. Okay. So here's my mic system. Okay. Now what we are going to do, in the mics system, we have to set up Bob. Okay, let's do that. Okay, before I do that, I have to check in the certificate. There's a Bob certificate. Okay, now we check in the certificate. We are ready to set up Bob. How I got the partner. Create new identity. This is Bob. What is the identity of Bob? Anyone remember? Bob. This is Bob AS2. Everything is small. Okay. Same thing. Now again we need HTTP URL of Bob. Okay, so we have to call to Bob and find out the HTTP URL. To find that endpoint again, I have to find this out. HTTP server adapter. So this guy is running on 50033, and the IP address of this system 192.168.1.166. Okay, 50033. This is correct, right? Okay, so again, if this is HTTPS, we have to select here must. Okay, and then we also have to configure the CA certificate here. Okay, click on next. Again, so I already have explained this to you people, so we are not changing anything here. And if you remember, I think I guess we select the MD5 here, right?
Yes, JP.
And here, Bob. Okay. Okay. So 2 steps completed. Right now, I will go back to the Bob system again. Now, there is one more step in this end-to-end setup that we are going to do now. Okay. So we create a partner. Okay, and then we first created a organization, then partner. Now, next step is where we have to establish a relationship in the system between the partner and the organization. So if you remember, this is a Bob system, right? Node 1, Bob. This installation is owned by the Bob. Okay, so Bob, we set up an organization called the Bob. Now then we set up a Mike as a partner, right? Now we have to set up a relationship between these two, right? To set up the relationship between these two, you have to click on the AS2. Click on here. Organization is Bob and the partner is Mike. Click on next. Okay. Here the first parameter that you need to specify, retry interval. Okay. So retry interval is used for the retry. So suppose Bob is sending a file to Mike, but maybe there is some network slowness or the network system cannot establish a network, or Mike's system is down for a second, right? Then your connection will fail, right? But if you have these two configurations, right, then what will happen? System will try to send the file or to establish the connection at least for the 5 times, right? And each connection will be attempted after interval of 300 seconds. Okay, so these are 2 parameters here. Okay, come to here. notify your intermediary failures. Okay, so if you click here, right, system or business process will generate email to you on each failure, right? Now, where this email will be sent? Do you remember when we set up when we set up the organization, right? In the first page, right? It asks for the SMTP detail, like your SMTP email address, host name, and the port number. So configuration or the BPs will use that detail to send the email. So if you select this one, so you will, and you have 5 here, so you will get 5 emails, right? If you do not select this one and you have only selected this one, then only last attempt, if failed, then only you will get email, right? Wait for the synchronous MDN process to complete before extracting the data. Let's leave this for now, park it. Next, where you want to store the AS2 related files or AS2 related data, or from where you want to pick up the AS2 related data, right? AS2 messages in the file system, AS2 messages in the mailbox, and the last option is invoke business process directly, right? So I will show you these 2 options, right? If you select the AS2 messages in the file system, okay, say suppose we select this for this configuration, then click on the next, right? These folders, right, from where AS2 will push or pull the files, right, it will be created in the file system. But if in the previous screen you select the mailbox, then you have to drop the files for AS2 processing in the mailbox instead of the file system. But for this configuration, because we choose the file system, that is the reason here it has by default provided as a file system directory structure here, right? You are free to change this, and you can change it the way you want, right? By default, it creates something like this in the installation folder where SI is installed, and then AS2 partner. This is the fix, and after that, your organization name, right, slash partner name, right, and then last part is important. Okay, outbound. Okay, so, and this is outbound. If you look at this one, this is the inbound, and then the last one is error. Remaining part is same, only last part changes: outbound, inbound, and error. Okay, so if you want to, okay, if you want to send a file out, okay, then you have to drop the file here in the outbox, or I am opposite, I'm saying other way around. Oh, right, the extraction. Okay, now I'm confused here, but we will figure out soon that which folder we should use for the inbound and outbound, right? So one of these folder will be used if we want to send file to our partner, right? And in one of these folder, we will receive file through the AS2 protocol. Okay, and I think outbound is the folder, right, where we will be receiving file. Okay, if Mike send a file, listen carefully. Okay, if Mike send a file to the Bob, then that file will show up in the outbound folder. Okay, inbound, if Bob want to send a file, okay, if Bob want to send a file to Mike, then he has to put that file in this inbound folder, or it may be other way around also, right? I'm just kind of confused here, right? It's just not coming in my mind. Okay, but look at the last one, error. Okay, look at the error folder. If your business process or if your SI fail to send file to your partner, in this case, because we are working for the in the Bob system right now, if this system send file to the mic, then that file will be moved to the error folder. So actually, you in the real production scenario, you should not have any file in the error folder. Okay. Then max file to collect. So you drop the file right in the outbound folder, and then your AS2 configuration will pick up those files and will send to your partner, right? So how many files you want to collect at a time? Like say suppose you drop 10,000 files. You do not want your system to collect all 10,000 files and process, because SI will stop working, it will bust, right? So if you place 10,000 files for the processing, you want your system to slowly pick up those files, maybe 10 files at a time, then 10 files, and then 10 files, like that, right? So this is the configuration from where you want to control that. Say suppose I want to pick up 10 files, process, and then go again 10 files, right? Now obviously you by now you have understand that these will be the folders where AS2 setup will monitor for the files, right? So here you can specify how soon or how often you want to monitor that folder. Every minute, every 5 minutes, every 2 minutes, every 3 minutes, right? So you can, based on your requirement, you can configure something here. Okay, and then leave this configuration. I mean, if you read it properly, you will understand what it means. Okay, click on next. Oh, hold on. I have to select something here. Include the file name in the message. File name only. Okay, so now we have set up the relationship in the Bob system. Next, we have to set up the same relationship, okay, in the mic system. Mic. Okay, so here I want to use the mailbox instead of the file system. Okay, so by default, this is the configuration. Same thing, AS2, your organization name, and then your this guy partner name, and then the inbound and outbound. If I create the mailbox, and I'm afraid it may take a lot of time. Can I go with the file system? Yeah, I don't want to wait. Okay, but this is how that configuration works. Okay, I will select file system. So click on finish. Okay, if I had selected mailbox, right, it create the mailbox and do all those things, and the system is already very slow, so it takes a lot of time. So just to save some time, I select the file system. There is no other reason. Okay. Okay. So our setup is complete. Mike is ready to send a file. Okay. So what we can do here is, right, this is Bob's system, right? This is Mr. Bob. Before Bob actually sent actual transmission, or actually set up any actual transfer to the mic, he can test that connection or test this setup, right? So to test this, he can click on this. Okay. So when he click on this, right, SI will automatically it will create a test file, right? And it will send to the partner system. Okay, it will send to the partner's system. Okay, it says unauthorized. So it failed in the last step. SSL connection. (401) unauthorized. Okay. It here says unauthorized. What's in unauthorized? Okay, let me look at here at in the HTTP server adapter. There may be some configuration. Maybe I was doing something to explain something to previous batch, and there is some configuration. HTTP server adapter. Okay. User authentication required. So suppose no. Use SSL no. Should the adapter be restricted to certain group of users? No. No. Finish. Okay, so now my server adapter is up again. Okay, let me try another connection. Okay, I will initiate a test again. Okay, let's see if this time it works. Okay, it says HTTP running. It should not take this long. Okay, it's trying to do something. I don't know what it's trying to do. It failed again. And why it failed? Response not received before the specified timeout reached. Closing connection. Response not received. Okay. So I think it did not get the what we call it, MDM back. Okay, but let me see if we got something. Did not get any file. Okay, so now I don't know why it's not. The server adapter is running, that is for sure. Okay, let me send a file from here to from this end to that end. Now I want to check if Mike can send a file to Bob. So some problem with the HTTP adapter, I think. There. Okay, so this part worked. Okay. So here you can see Mike is able to send the file to Bob. Okay. So if you see all pass, 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 it means Mike is able to send the file to the Bob, right? And everything is same, right? But Bob is not able to send file to Mike, and the reason behind that is some HTTP server adapter configuration. Okay. Okay. So now this part is because working. So what I can do is I can go to our relationship directory. Okay. And drop a file. Okay. And I should drop the file here in the outbound, right? And where that folder is, C installation install AS2 partner, and then Mike AS2 SSL, Bob AS2 setup / outbound, which is this folder. Okay. So if I create a file here, okay, this file should go AS2 setup. Okay, or AS2 setup should pick up this file, encrypt it, sign it, and send to the Bob. Okay, and it's going to take some time because here we have configured it to run every 5 minutes, but I can make it to 1 minute also. And meanwhile it's running, let me look at that configuration. I want to check the HTTP server adapter. That is where problem is. Okay, so either I did not specify the IP address port number correctly or something like that. Okay. Well, this file is not going. Hold on. That test worked properly. So if that test works properly, I should able to see the file, and that will verify that there. Yeah, we got two files here. Now that file must have been picked up. Yeah. So see, this file is gone from here, and file is available here. Okay. If I open this, open with this is test file from the mic. Okay. This is this bad file name. Now it will come with the good, I mean the file name from which user has sent and sender has sent. Okay. So if because I changed that parameter right there. Okay. So I want to look at one more thing. Maybe I can quickly fix it. Partner, right? What IP address I have specified here for my 192.6.150.5035. See, this server adapter is not running. Why it's not running? I don't know. I mean, I started it right. I changed the configuration. Meanwhile, let me place one more file just for the testing. My AS2. For testing, and this is second file. Okay. So you will see after a minute, this file will go away from, this file will be picked up from the outbound folder from the Mike's system, right? This is Mike's system, right? And you will see the same file in the Bob system. Right now, this is enabled. Okay. Because this is enabled, I will verify one more time. So once I enable it, actually your connection should work other way around as well. Okay. Now Bob should also be able to send file to the mic. I will come here once. while we are waiting for that file to come from Mike to Bob, okay, let me test this if it works now. Okay, now see, it is also passed. It is passed. It means now Mike will also, Bob will also send able to file the Mike. It was not working because that sub adapter was down. Come on. Okay. This is the file, but there is no impact in the file name. So why is that? What may be the reason for that? That should have impacted it. Now again, maybe see, this is the same message, but I was expecting it to be with the same file name as I named it in the mic system, right? But not like that, and that may be some configuration change in the business process. Okay, I may have some. I just to show something. I think I have changed some system DPs. Because of that, this that functionality is not working, but it should work in your system. Okay, guys. Now, if you want, I can process one file from the Bob to Mike as well, and it will work because test connection is working, so it will work in the same way. Okay, guys. So, any question? I know that we covered a lot, right? And today we have almost about 2.5 hour session, right? So, watch this video and the recording session I will share with you people again today. And if you have any question, we will discuss tomorrow. Okay. So if you people do not have any question, then we can wrap this session.
Okay, thank you, JP.
No one has any
Yeah,
question.
we will watch again and let you know, JP.
Yeah, okay, definitely. Okay.
Thanks, JP.
So,
Yeah, bye.
okay.
Thanks, JP.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, JP.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.